are
What's
you?
going on, Trae? I'm good.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Again, I got to give you a warm welcome too. This is your first time into the studio.
Super fires. Dope.
Yeah, see, I hope it won't be your last, because one of the things that I always say about this show right here is that it is meant to really bring out and uplift all of the brilliance that's going on in our community. And it's clear that you've been doing that. Tell us a bit about yourself. What got you started as an author and a hip hop artist? Tell us about those beginnings.
Absolutely. Well, I was just exposed to music at a young age. And also my mother, she put out a book when I was younger. So it was just normal to me to see that. And so I feel like I've just kind of taken it and ran with it in the, different areas of passion that I have. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, what we were just talking about with Devin, in businesses, a lot of times, particularly for an author, people are like, how do I even get started? And especially now, there's so many different avenues, right? You can do self-publishing, you can publish on Amazon. It's like people are like, there's so many things. Tell us a bit about some of the pathways that have really worked for you as an author.
Well, I'm kind of like an independent type of guy. Like I believe in ownership. I believe in equity. I believe in building my own brand. So everything that you see, even what I'm wearing, is Rebel Firm. So it's Rebel Firm books, Rebel Firm music. And that's my mindset, my mentality. And I really got to credit like Nipsey Hussle, because I think we saw his movement with All Money In and, other artists that just have that mindset of like, partnerships is cool, but I want to be able to own the table that I'm sitting at as well. So that's the route that I really take. So I've been going the indie route with my books. I do have a partner that have co-published the last couple books that I've done, Blue Cactus Press. Shout out to Christina Vega and the team there. And so I look for places where I can partner with people that enable me to bring my vision to life and do things that I necessarily wouldn't want to do, or it just frees me up to be that creative. But at the same time, it's all Rebel Firm. Like everything got to be Rebel Firm at the end of the day. Yeah.
Hey, you're absolutely right in terms of the branding. And Nipsey definitely showed us that when we talk about ownership. I think there's so many people, particularly in the other wave of creativity that you do in hip hop and music industry. There's been a lot of people that have had their intellectual capital basically stolen from right under their nose. And, being excited to sign a contract with a major, a record company or whatever, and they realize, man, wait a minute, I'm getting pennies on the dollar for all of my creativity. And we've heard this in so many different realms, and particularly I think as we see a lot of these films come out on different artists and music groups and stuff, and you're like, man, they messed y'all's contracts up.
It's a fact.
Yeah. So we're learning from that. And so I think you're absolutely on the money when you talk about your own brand. Tell us a bit about, how you get people exposed to your brand. What are some of the marketing things that you do so people know about your books and know about your music?
Honestly, I'm building this thing brick by brick. I don't have like a silver bullet, so it's like the grind every day. So when I do a show, I'm talking about the books, and when I'm doing a book signing, I'm talking about the music. I'm on social media. It's like sometimes I feel like I'm wearing like 10 different hats, but that's kind of how it is, and it's just being out doing interviews, shaking hands, kissing babies, like whatever. I'm showing up, I'm pulling up, and I'm trying to be at my best and just demonstrate the quality of what I do. And I think that attracts people to it. And it's really like a grassroots movement with what I'm doing. I don't have like no major backing or nothing like that. It's literally me hand to hand sometimes selling my own books, selling my own music, just pushing it, putting the word out. And then it's gaining traction, and then people begin to tell other people.
Yeah. Honestly, that's the way some of the best brands have ever been created. And I really appreciate you sharing that, because I think sometimes I won't say just young people, because I think it's just people in general, but they need to understand that it is a grind, right? Like none of this stuff comes easy. And, people sometimes see me, oh my God, you got your own TV show. It just happened after the Chop. Like, oh, you guys were in the Chop, and then everybody started paying attention. And me and Omari are like, are you kidding? We have decades of experience in media. He was all over the world, doing media and starting media companies everywhere, all over the continent of Africa, in Dubai, all of these other places. Me, I started in the front of the camera acting and modeling and singing and stuff when I was 9 years old, right? And so it's like, actually, no, this has been a grind. And I think sometimes people have to really hear that, because there's a misnomer like, oh man, he already got it on a hat, he got the shirt, he got books, oh man, you done already made it. You're like, no, every day I gotta give energy to this. Now we're really here, and I'm excited to talk about Elephant in the Room. But I gotta, before I go there, I gotta talk about all these other books that you just handed me. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that you were such a multifaceted author and
Thank you.
have several books in the works. So this one here, Accuracy: A Guide to Living Skillfully and Successfully in Today's Crazy Times. He also he has Accuracy out.
Yeah.
You also have, now I'm gonna go to that one last because that's really a part of my moniker here. He also has a children's book here, Quincy's Life, Daddy's Gone. Look at that. I love the artwork on there too.
Shout out to Melissa Evans.
There it
Appreciate you,
is.
Queen.
There it is. See, look, connection right there. Always a collaboration. And before we get to Elephant in the Room, you guys, I'm always saying this to y'all, but he has a book called You Are the Solution: Awakening the Entrepreneurial Spirit Within. I tell y'all this every day. You are a part of the solution. We need y'all to be inspired to be a part of the solution. Phillip is literally giving the book in my hands here. I'm gonna read all these, Phillip. I'm gonna read them all because this is something that I live by. I always say to myself, we all have brilliance that we just need to bring out so that it can be a part of a collective brilliance. If we keep it to ourselves, it's like that's not what we're here to do. That's not why the creator created us. It is to really express that piece of us and find the collectiveness within. So I love this. I love that you have multiple books, but you were talking about, like, look, right now, there's a heavy topic that's going through every different corporation, institution around diversity, equity, inclusion, racial equity, all of these things. We have now Elephant in the Room, a business parable about race and equity conversations in the workplace. And you can put that up there, Cuddy. We actually have the book there. But tell us a bit about Elephant in the Room.
I feel like it's another needed log on the fire of racial equity right now. Because if you notice, it's waning. Like you were just talking about the work that y'all was doing in the CHOP. I was the former director of Washington Employers for Racial Equity. Last year I did that. And I being in these corporations and being around business owners and, well-meaning folks, it's not a priority to people that are not Black, And so I felt like we needed something, and this is kind of my contribution to it, along with all of this work that's going on this wall behind me, to add to the focus that needs to be on not just racial equity, but Black racial equity, a focus on our people. So the format of this book is actually a fiction book, but it's based off of like real life experiences, and I've read a lot of diversity, equity, and inclusion books, but sometimes they're dry, just to be honest. They're boring and it's very theory based. So I wanted to give people something that's like real and it's action packed. I mean, folks, is cussing in there, there's gun, it's a lot. It's like damn near like a movie. Wow. But I wanted to just give people like that real raw aspect about how we're thinking about racial equity and having these conversations in the workplace. And it's not easy to have, but we got to keep doing it. And we already know, based off of history, if we don't keep raising our voices, if we don't keep putting pressure on, quote unquote mainstream or whatever you want to call it, we're not going to get the liberation that we're seeking. Everything that we've gotten, we've had to fight for in this country. So it's nothing different now.
Yeah, and no, absolutely. And this is a part of that discussion that oftentimes is not being had. You're absolutely right. I remember being in the corporate space and they weren't talking about inclusion. No, they weren't talking about equity then. It was D&I, and it was diversity and inclusion, and that's what it was. And they were like, "Oh my God, we need you to chair this thing. We're going to do DI." And I was like, "Okay," my second day on the job, right? I'm like, okay, because I was only one of 3 Black women in the entire workplace. There was another Asian woman there that was doing amazing work, but she was like, "Look, I need your voice to be a part of this." But the thing is that's that part of our intellectual capital and our lived experience that oftentimes is exploited in these corporate spaces and institutions. And maybe they don't do it intentionally, but it's just like there's this unintended thing that happens where you then become like, I have to speak for all Black folks. And it's like, that's not really the case. So I love that you're centering Blackness when it comes to DEI because it's necessary. And we also understand stories and history and statistics have shown us when we focus on the Black community rising, everyone else rises.
Everybody else is, yep.
And so that's really, I want to ask you before I turn it over for you to like tell people about the event you have coming up. What is your process in terms of writing all of this content? Because you've got to be able to get real focused in order to pull these books out, bruh.
Absolutely. So I got this thing, I call it where you make like micro process, or progress rather, on a day-to-day basis. So sometimes I don't give myself like a quota, but every day I try to be at my laptop, and literally, even if it's only like 5 minutes, or if I'm on a good day, it might be like an hour where I'm typing away, and just hammering it out. And really the thing is, it's just being consistent. My bro that was on a little earlier was just talking about the habits that you have, and that's what really leads to an effective business.
Yeah.
So it's really those habits that you develop in, like being a writer, a musician, really anything, you're a parent, whatever. You got to have a process, a daily regimen, and you just got to make sure like that those habits that you have are leading to the overall outcome that you want to have. So that day-to-day process of just sitting at my laptop, I'm not gonna front, sometimes I miss a day, but I try to stay as consistent as possible, and then we look up and we got another book.
Amazing. Honestly, Phil, this is really great and it's so inspiring.
Thank you.
Before I, let you all the way go, I do want to talk about your music because you are not just launching Elephant in the Room tomorrow, you're also launching a new album. I
Absolutely.
mean, you're doing it all, brother. Tell us a bit about what folks can expect when they cop the album.
Absolutely. So the name of the project is called Making Up for Lost Time. And really, I'm just in a season of life where I'm not letting anything hold me back, limitations, obstacles wise. Like, I got a momentum, I got a process, I got a formula, which I've never had before as an artist and as a creative. And so once I got that formula, I'm like, it's game over. So now I'm just making up for like all those years where it was kind of like start, stops. Now it's like every year I'm trying to put out a project. Every year I'm trying to put out a book. I'm just like, every month I got to be doing something. And so I'm just, I think a lot of us, we kind of, even if we have accomplished a lot, we still look back and be like, I could have did this, I could have did that. And so now it's like, I'm just not, I'm leaving it all on the court. So Making Up for Lost Time, to me, it's a dope project. It's a real project. Everything I try to do, I try to lead with authenticity and just give people like where I'm at right now. Like, you might not agree with where I'm at, but this is where I'm at, and you know where I stand. So, you just, deal with me accordingly to that. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, authenticity is key. And honestly, people feel like they do, right? They're like, you know what? No, that's why I rock with him because he's going to be real. You know what I mean? And people look for that, not only in books, but definitely in music. So it's exciting tomorrow. You're going to be dropping the book, you're dropping the album. Look right there. Make sure folks know how they can tap in with the event you have coming up so that they can get the book and get the album.
Then where I'm at, this one or this one?
This one right
Okay,
there.
for sure. What's up, everybody? It's your man, Phillip Sharp Skills Jacob. So you'll be able to get everything from rebelfirm.com tomorrow, October 29th. You'll be able to get Elephant in the Room plus all my other titles. And then also you'll be able to get the album. You can digitally download it directly from rebelfirm.com, or you can go to your regular digital service provider, iTunes, Apple Music, all those guys. And then we're also now having a launch event for Elephant in the Room tomorrow in Tacoma from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Parable in Tacoma, which is also a Black-owned bookstore. We're going to have a champagne toast, and it's just going to be a lot of dope people, creatives that are going to be in the place. People that are pushing diversity, equity, inclusion, and racial equity in our region are going to be in the building. So 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. tomorrow, Tacoma, Parables, Tacoma, easy to find, Googleable. So just look it up, or you can hit me at The Sharp Skills on Instagram. You can go to my website, rebelfirm.com. You can reach out to me via email there, and we'll make sure we get you plugged in.
Oh, Phillip, I'm so inspired by you today. Thank you so much for coming on, sharing of yourself in this way and through the music, and being willing to be real right here on the Day with Trae with me. I appreciate you. Come back anytime you got a new book, drop a new album. Let me know.
Sure.
You are welcome here.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.